Hello, welcome to the weekly poster roundup. This is the Movie Poster Fan Club. Thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe this video. We're going to be looking at all the newest posters from last week. And let's get cracking. Let's start with Absolution, Liam Neeson. I know what you're thinking. This looks like kind of like a generic action movie, and that's probably true. But I sort of respect it not really following all the general cliches from modern action movies. Overly edited, just like a lot of floating heads, a lot of, fake explosions, and I think that I'm getting kind of tired of seeing those kind of action movie posters at this point. And just the fact that it is a generic action movie, but with like a very simplistic poster. It's just an image of Liam Neeson in front of a car. We have just the center alignment of the text here in the middle with the title sandwiched between two red pieces of text. Honestly, I would rather more posters look like this. If you got nothing new to add, just do it nice and simple. I think I'm gonna put this in B. All right, Babygirl. Super, super cool structure here. I just love the shape of the negative space that's made, and the fact that, Nicole Kidman, supposing that she's the baby girl, she is far shorter than her co-star, and I think that that gives a little bit of that message across. I don't know if the turquoise, yellow, and pink necessarily work that well together. I think the yellow works well with the turquoise, and the yellow works well with the pink, but I don't know if the pink and the turquoise work all that well together. But I think that's like a bit of a nitpick. I do like all of this negative space. I don't know if necessarily this tagline needed to take up as much space as it does, because I feel like negative space has the potential of being quite impactful. And, it's sort of like a less is more philosophy where, just emptiness says a lot more than filling out all the crevices of the poster that you can. And I think in this case, I might have been fine with the tagline being a bit more subtle and a bit, smaller. But I do like this poster in general. I think that this is an A for sure. Okay, Companion. I don't really know what this is. I don't know if it's it's not really a teaser because it doesn't even tease you anything about this movie. It's only just teasing you the title. I don't know if this is like a title reveal poster. I like the colors, but I think it slightly bothers me that Companion is just off-center. I kind of wish it were, in the middle of the page. I like the way that they have white text for Barbarian there to make that stick out. One thing that I feel kind of weird about is that this text here doesn't have that drop shadow. This one that's in cursive does. And then January 10th is written in the same font as the top text here, but in italics and also with drop shadow. So I don't know, there's a little bit of a weird consistency thing there. Otherwise, there's very little for me to say about this. It doesn't make me want to see this movie. I don't even know what Barbarian is. I've never heard of that movie. So I'm going to put this in D because this is sort of like an anti-poster. Crossword. Now this is such a cool poster. What a fantastic premise, by the way. Their heads are sort of sticking out of these crossword puzzles. Just the layout here, the way that they're sort of just kind of inclining towards each other. It's all kind of black and off-white, which reminds you of like a newspaper. Even the credits are kind of cool. Like they're written sort of with the font of the crossword font and not with your generic credits font. And I've never seen a tagline written on the side and on the edge like that. Death is more than a 5-letter word. So epic. I think this is going to end up being one of my favorite posters of the year. I love this. I really hope that the movie lives up to this poster because I've never heard of this movie before. But this poster is top notch. That's an S tier. Okay, Juror number 2. Okay, one thing I do like about this, I like the concept of leaving a lot of overhead space. Now, when a poster or even in film, when you see a lot of overhead space, it normally implies one of two things. One, either there's like some religious connotations there, or that maybe the character has like a lot of weight on his shoulders and it seems like the entire earth is being carried by this one guy who's sort of overwhelmed by what's above him. I guess in theory this could be either of those two. I'm guessing it's more the latter, and the thing that he's holding up with his shoulders is justice. So maybe a little bit too on the nose there, but I guess they sort of save themselves by making Lady Justice sort of out of focus. Oh yeah, look, there it is. Guilt sees everything. So he does definitely seem guilty. I didn't even read that tagline. He does seem guilty in this poster, and I think that's done effectively. I think maybe my one complaint is the the font for the title there. It's like, I don't know, it's like a gradient that you could find on like Word or something. So it's not my favorite. I don't know. I think that this has got to be maybe like a high B. Okay, Monster Summer. It's weirdly bright and plastic for something that's supposedly a horror film, but I don't know. Maybe it's like a family horror film, and in that case, that's sort of excused because it's meant to be like, I don't know, lighthearted horror. But the floating heads, and I talked about this cliche in several videos now, where you have floating heads at the top, and then in the center at the bottom, you see like a piece of the set or just some action from the movie. We see that design so often, almost exclusively in commercial films. It's a trope that we need to start moving away from, I think, as a society. Mel Gibson here is shot as if he were in like a Hallmark movie or something with those bright blue eyes. Like, he doesn't seem scared at all. Like, I don't know. There's just a weird lack of specificity in its tone and genre. But I do like this sort of like kind of silhouette effect with the lights. I don't know. It's definitely between a C and a D. Okay, music by John Williams. Off the bat, the one thing that I do like, or that I think is like somewhat interesting, is that you can only see his head and then his hands, plus his baton, of course. And like that in itself is cool, but I wish that they'd kind of gone a little bit further with that. Because right now, if you just kind of glance at the picture, you could just think he's wearing black. When you look closer, you realize that this is like an intentional choice. So I like it when artistic choices are evident enough to make them seem like strong artistic choices. The one thing I don't like about the way John Williams appears here is that he kind of looks like that iPhone effect. Like on iPhone, there's an effect where you can make whoever you're taking a picture of, like black and white, and then their background totally black. I remember because I was just playing around with the effects of my iPhone one day, and I took a picture of my dad like that. And so this just instantly reminded me of that. I guess the tagline there is kind of nice. The other thing is just like, yeah, okay, music. It's like very on the nose, and it's not really done in a particularly interesting way. So they did two things here that you could define as artistic choices, but neither of them really go all the way. It might be harsh. I think I'm going to put this as like a high C. Okay, Notice to Quit. I actually found that there were some really cool character posters for this poster, and I need to find the time someday to do a deep dive on character posters that have come out this year, because I don't include them on these videos, but they're always really interesting to look at. So watch out for that. I'll be doing that in the future. What I like about this is that there's like a framed image here, but our characters are just not in the image at all. They're both outside of the frame, and they're standing on like this white background, and you could see their shadows being cast over the credits. But like, we've seen quite a few framed posters, or posters that have this sort of framed concept, and occasionally they sort of stick out of the frame. But to have our characters basically be completely out of the frame just functions as like a backdrop for the rest of the poster. I think it's like it's kind of cool. I like it. I really like the consistency of like the color texture here. It's slightly sepia, but at the same time it has these like strong red tones throughout the thing. I think that this is like an A. Okay, The Short Game. Jeez Louise, man, this is awful. The poster makes me think that the movie was made in someone's backyard, and it's like some home video. We have these floating heads. We have these laurels that are kind of like weirdly placed and off-center and just strange. World premiere, like what does that tell us? What is that? Is this just the poster for the world premiere? Well, like, where is it? When? You know? That doesn't make any sense to me. It just looks so mediocre. Like, having said that, I'm starting to think that, okay, that it should look a bit more like this. Because music by John Williams is obviously better than Monster Summer. And Monster Summer definitely seems like it deserves to be in a different tier to The Short Game. The Short Game, like, I wish I had an F tier just to put that one there. This is easily the worst poster I've reviewed since starting this channel. And now we have two Smile 2 posters for you. I honestly am really impressed with the Smile 2 campaign, because I think they have some really, really cool posters. This one's super ambitious. You know, we get this sort of like mirror image of a city skyline, but it's curved in a way that it makes it look like a smile. Like, that's just like clever. That's interesting. I just like the way that they come up with putting smiles in just creative ways, and you instantly know what that movie's going to be. Like, I feel like at this point, any movie with this sort of smile, they don't even need to have the title in it, and I'll probably know what it is. So I really like this one. It's very, very bare bones, this poster. This tagline just kind of seems shoehorned in there, and it's in gray, and I don't know. I don't really like this tagline that much. I guess my only complaint is that it's eerie, but it's not really scary because there's nothing inherently scary about a city skyline. Even when it's curved in that way, it just kind of looks odd, but I don't know if it's got the fear factor in it necessarily. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is like a B. For our last poster today, we have another Smile 2 poster. This one I quite like, actually. I guess maybe my one complaint is that normally the smiles look a bit more like that. Look sort of like more like without the teeth and stuff. So it's kind of weird to see the smile with the teeth, but I don't think that's like, it looks really cool. And I think that the teeth really work to show this sort of blood-stained texture to it. That does add fear. But overall, this one's super cool. This would be like a really tremendous teaser poster. I don't know if this is released as a teaser poster, but out of all the teaser posters that I've reviewed on this channel, if this counts as one, this would probably be my favorite. So I like that quite a bit. Definitely a better teaser than Companion, which, like, I don't know, it's barely even a poster. The other thing I like about this one too, and it's like a very subtle thing, but I don't know if you noticed, but the logo for the title is like a little bit different. In this one, the 2 is just sort of like flatter right underneath that text there. And the 2 is just sort of like a different font than it is in this poster, where there's just a lot more space. The 2's also kind of textured. It's larger. It's a very slight difference between the 2. But I ultimately think this is the better poster. I'm going to put this one in A. And yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. And thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you next week.